All right, we're trying some different stuff here today. It's broad daylight. We've never recorded an episode during the day. It's like morning. I don't know how to act.
Never. It's 10 a.m. on a Wednesday, and here we are.
I have like a baseball cap on. I'm like incognito. Like I
You
just
know,
feel weird.
you're
I
hiding
feel
from the world.
yeah, it's weird. And we're also trying a new mic technique. We're gonna try to hold our mics today instead of having them on a stand. We're gonna see how it goes.
Yeah, we don't know how well it is because since we talk with our hands, we think like the mics might go flying at some point. So,
It's it's very possible, but we're down to try anything once. So here we go. I
all
feel like I'm
right.
I feel like I'm about to like host a weather report for some strange reason.
It's a little odd, yeah, like not having it on the stand, right?
Yeah, but
But
we're
we
good.
wanted to try it, and we
We're
figured we can't try it when we have a guest. We can only just try it between the two of us. So this is the perfect time on a Wednesday fall morning.
Here we go. So our episode today is going to be about anxiety, specifically leaving out medical anxiety because that is like a whole separate episode that we can deep dive at a different time. But so we are not necessarily going to do a mental health segment at the end of this episode because the entire episode is mental health. And my sources for this topic of conversation are my whole life,
See,
my
my
lived
whole life,
experiences.
my
Yes.
mother, she's another source.
I've done a lot of prep by just living and existing. So here we go. Um, so to kick us off, I think that what we've found is that basically like your parents' anxieties become your inner monologue, right? So
Hmm.
anything that your parents had as an anxiety when you were growing up, that just becomes your inner monologue. Like that's how you talk to yourself. Those are the voices that you hear in your head when you're
Absolutely.
going through life and you're like, oh my God, my mom used to say this all the time. And now that's the thing I'm worried about, or that's that worry has been embedded in the full deep folds of my brain. And it's so hard to undo that and to get out of those things, thinking those things.
Yep. Absolutely. It's all anything like anytime you're thinking of something, especially me, I feel like I have my mom right behind, like I have her voice or her anxiety like in my head. Like,
Right.
Kelly, this could happen. If you do this, this could happen. If you jump out of a plane, this could happen. You know what I mean? Like, it's just it's all the negatives of what can happen. Never like, oh, you're gonna go on this beautiful trip and you're gonna enjoy yourself. You're going with them, it's you're gonna go on this trip and you're gonna end up murdered and maybe found in your suitcase. Like their brains just wired to think of like negative thoughts and being anxious.
So I just saw you just talked about going on a trip, and I saw something online, and people were talking about I forget what culture it was, and I'm sorry that I forgot it, but they were talking about like immigrant parents or their cultured parents, and how they thought that the only security system that you needed when you went away on a vacation was like leaving a light on in the house. You have to leave a light on so that the potential robbers think that someone's home, the home is occupied, you're not away on vacation.
But it's like the thing where that is if you keep that one, you have that one light on the whole time, the hallway, like say if it's just the hallway light or the bathroom light, they're obviously gonna know for like 2 weeks. Like if you're away for 2 weeks, you're not in the bathroom the whole entire time. It's like the logic behind it. You need like a timer so like different lights in the room can go off.
Okay, that's an anxiety response.
Oh, sorry. Let me move. You might hear that little bump on the wall. Yeah, I know. So I remember going on. I don't know how your parents were when you went away, but I just remember going away as a kid, and we would always kind of go away for the 2, 3 weeks to Portugal to the Azores. And my father, and I think I mentioned this to you because I heard this on Sebastian Maniscalco comedians thing. So our biggest thing was when we went away, like don't tell. My father would be like, don't tell the kids in school that you're going away and that you're gonna no one's gonna be home, so they won't know that the house is empty. And it's like, what, like my fourth graders are gonna come rob the house? Like, what? What's the logic behind that?
So for me growing up, I remember it being not so much don't tell your friends that you're going away or don't tell kids at school. I remember it being like, and I think it started with the news. Like the news would report this and then like my parents would say it to me, but it was don't post it on online. So like in our
Oh yeah.
day,
So that became later on when the internet was like around more. Yeah.
yeah. And so in our day, like the early internet would have been like, don't put an aim away message up that says like out on vacay for the week, you know?
But our dumbasses would. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you would do the vacay with the big V, the small A, the big C, the small A. Like, you needed people to know on your buddy list that you're going on vacation.
Yeah, I know, but like there was like a 0% chance that if you went away for a week and you tried to leave your dial-up connection connected for the whole time,
You're disconnected 2 hours into your vacation.
0% chance that that lasts. You're kicked
Yeah.
off immediately. But at least it was like fun while it lasted. Like people knew you went away on vacay. But
Yeah,
but that was like that was from like the news. I feel like the news report, which I feel like I'm doing right now by holding this microphone.
You look like you're reporting from like outside, like in a storm with your jacket on and everything. Like you're waiting to report like a tropical storm.
Jim Cantori, and we are tracking Hurricane Ian. So so I feel like the news would come on and be like, burglars are on the prowl, so please don't report that you're going away on vacation because they're targeting these homes. And I just feel like, and that's just stuck with everybody. But
Yeah.
at the same time, now that everybody is so much on the internet and everybody is, it's become a different place. So like now you're going around like tagging your location
Right.
to where you're going all the time.
So you bringing up the tagging thing's interesting because when we went away just for like a weekend getaway back in summer, I didn't realize because I'm private on my Instagram, like my personal one, like not the obviously the podcast one. My personal one's very private. It's so like I can post wherever I am and I can tag the location and I'm not worried about it because usually mostly everyone on my Instagram is people I know. Um, like you, and then so you made the comment like I would just remember we were taking pictures or something, and you're like, "Oh, I'll wait to post these later so I can tag it so people don't know where we are." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, it didn't dawn on me that you almost wait to post afterwards because you don't want people to know because you're not private. It just didn't hit me that I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like you have to do that.
Yeah, and that wasn't because I think like I'm a celebrity.
Maybe
That was
no.
it
Like
was
it was more of like anxiety, like an anxiety thing, right? I
yeah,
assume.
I saw a creepy man in the elevator and he creeped me out and there was three girls alone on vacation and I was like, I didn't like that man and I'm not about to
Yeah.
go post my location so that he can just go to the hotel's Instagram page and
And
find me and start like
exa-
tracking me. So I'm like, no, I'm good. So
exactly, because especially
I
too,
waited to
like
post. Yeah.
especially where the room we were at, you could kind of figure it out. Like it wasn't a big hotel, so you could figure out what room we were probably potentially in too, if the guy really wanted to find us.
Well,
You know what I mean?
I remember he creeped me out. Like he was just like lingering like in the lobby and then he just immediately like followed right behind me into the hotel, into the elevator.
Yeah.
And I purposefully went to like the wrong floor. There was only like three floors on this
Yeah.
at
Yeah. It
this
was
hotel,
small.
but I went to like the wrong floor and then got out and just started walking like a different direction. And then I got back in the elevator and
Mm-hmm.
went down to our room afterwards. But I just didn't want, I was like, this dude is weird. But
But that's like not even, I didn't like when after we had that conversation in the hotel room, how you're like, oh, I'll post my picture later. Cause like I think me and our other friend posted like the photo or something. Like we took like a group, like a very nice group photo of us. And I was like, oh shit. Like, yeah, you're right. If you're not private, you're opening yourself to the possibility of like random people obviously seeing your pictures and your profile. And most of the time it's fine. But there's that like slight little chance you get yourself like a weirdo.
right. And so I think where I was going initially with this point was that
Yeah, sorry.
no, that's
Tangent.
okay. Initially, like my thought was nowadays we tag our locations everywhere and there's so much available information on the internet of like where people are
Yeah.
that it no longer feels like we're protecting, my location or whether I'm going on vacation or this or that, because at this point it's like it's all public knowledge. Like everybody's doing it. Everybody's information is just out there. I don't know what I'm doing with this.
Sorry, it's Wacky Wednesday.
So it's like if there were someone out there with like sinister intent, I mean, they could just go after anybody. So it's like
Yeah.
you're not like sticking out in a sea where like, oh, there's nobody's information is available and your information is public, so they're gonna go after you. It's like, no, everybody's is public. Like
Yeah.
they can have their pick of the litter. They can go
Right.
wherever they want. And so it almost seems like you become a little bit safer in sharing that information. But I guess if somebody wants to target you specifically, then that's a different problem. But
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little scary. It's scary the way, but I guess you also kind of need to live your life a little. And if you
you
want, you know what I
right.
mean?
Right. The second you kind of
Yeah.
feed into the fear, then you've lost, and it's
Yeah.
really sad. But
Just need to be aware, like you were the day at the hotel. You were aware that guy was giving you the weird vibes, and you did what you had to do. You're like, I'm
right.
gonna do a whole maze situation here.
Right. Like I was like, I'm not gonna like ruin my day over it, but I'm also not gonna just
Right.
lead him right to my room. So
Come here, sir. My room is room number 429.
right, exactly. I was actually I had my room key in my hand and it had the number on it.
Yes, I remember
and
that.
I remember like I flipped it over and I like hid it from him because he was like creeping over my shoulder and I'm like, nah, dude. Like,
Yeah,
go away.
I remember
So
that.
so anxiety wise, another thing, I think we've mentioned this briefly, but we can talk a little deeper about it today. The whole curse thing. So my mom, this has been my mom's thing forever. And it started to be my thing. And then I finally was like, I can't, this is stupid. She won't put her purse in a place where it can be seen by the wind from the outside window. So if she comes to my house, she's staying over, like we're there during the day, everything's all dandy and fine. Like her purse is on the kitchen counter the whole day. And then before we go to bed, she has to put her purse away because it's in the line of sight of the window. And if a robber comes by, he's going to see that purse and he's going to want to come in. And it's just like,
Yeah, the logic of it.
if he's creeping around the yard already, like you've already
Exactly.
lost. Like whether he sees the purse or not, like you've already lost. If somebody's creeping around looking through the windows, like they know the purse is in there,
Right.
right?
He knows the little Michael Kors bag is sitting there. Like he knows it's somewhere in the house, regardless.
Whether he can see it or not on the counter, he knows it's
Exactly.
there. So if he has the intent of coming in, it ain't going to be because the purse was on the counter,
Yeah.
right?
No, I agree. But I can also see your mom's side because I kind of do something where like, so when I walk into my house, I have the little like, I always throw everything on my kitchen island. Everything just gets like thrown on there, like my water bottle, my purse, everything just gets thrown. And then like throughout the night, I'll like put things away finally. And if I realize I have my purse on the island, I have to like, I don't hide it. I just don't like leaving it there. I'm not necessarily worried.
So you hide it.
Like I don't hide. I just don't like it like right in the open on the island in the kitchen. But I'm not worried about like if somebody comes and takes it. Like if someone's in my house, someone's in my house. They're gonna take whatever they want,
right?
bag or
So
not.
you do live in. I mean, my house is in a busy area too, but you're
Your
in a very busy spot, so
your
I can
mom's
kind of see.
your mom's more in like a quiet. Your mom's closer to me, and she's in like a quiet area, so it makes less sense for her almost to be worried about that.
Well, she doesn't. I don't think she does it at her own house. She doesn't. She does it at my house.
All right.
She must think I live in a bad place, but I don't know.
That's interesting. Okay.
But
Yeah, so say like,
oh, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say at her house, I don't really see the logic for it because she's in the boonies.
Right.
Not that people in the boonies don't get robbed; they do, obviously, but
right. But it ain't because they're window shopping for a purse. So
they didn't like your mom's Michael Kors bag in the tan color.
No, they were like, next. So on purses, still the same logic applied to the car. So she can't leave a purse in the car. And I haven't shaken this one yet. And I can see it's valid. I guess it's valid. But
Yeah.
she has to put her purse in the trunk. Like if she's leaving somewhere, like let's say she's going to the beach where she doesn't want to take her purse with her to the beach, she has to put it in the trunk or she has to cover it up in like the back seat with something.
I can get on board with that one. I'm saying I can't leave it in like I can't leave it just out in the I would never leave it out in the open too.
No, and I want to like
I know what you
be
mean.
above it. I want to be
Yeah,
above it, but
I
I'm
know.
not. I'm not above it, and I do the same thing. So I'm
Coming from a person that like I buy a new car back in December, what like 2 years ago, my car. I think like it'll be 2 years like this Christmas that I've gotten my car. And several months in, someone broke into it in my driveway because I left the door unlocked. There was nothing in it because it was still obviously brand new. So there wasn't. I have nothing. I had nothing in my car. I think I had like my winter jacket, and they stole my winter jacket with a broken zipper. So jokes on you. But yeah, like so. Where was I going with this? Yeah, so I didn't have anything in it, but I'm like, I get now, like if I had like my purse or if I had something, they would have they obviously they would have taken it. So I get
right.
like I need to keep it living in the city. Like I can't have anything in the car. Like I don't keep anything in my car just because I know
Mm,
easily somebody can walk by. Like my neighbors, he had just a thing of change in his car and somebody walked by and broke into his car and took it.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it can happen anywhere, but I get your mom's logic. He has to either be in the trunk
I know,
or
but like
come in.
to me, it's always like I'll park my car somewhere and then I feel like people are watching me cover the purse up. So like, I'm over there and I'm like tucking the purse down and I'm like putting stuff on top of it. And I'm like literally like people are just out in the house, just like
You're a little bit more like free, like you're like very free living. Like I don't know. I feel like sometimes like isn't like sometimes with your dog you'll leave sometimes your dog in the car if you gotta like obviously not on a hot day. Melissa does not do that, but like you bring your dog everywhere with you, which I love. He
yes,
always comes on all your rides with you to do all your errands. But like sometimes if you're doing a quick errand, you'll keep him in the car.
of course. And I
It's
leave the
it's
windows
not
down for him and it's only
yeah,
if the temperature
of
outside
course.
is a
Yeah.
decent temperature. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just like in my brain, I don't do that because my brain thinks someone's gonna break into my car and steal my dog.
So
So I love how you live a
so
little
I
bit
do
more freely.
okay, but not so free because
Okay.
I do like measure how much I leave the window open so that nobody can stick their arm through.
I'm dead. Yep.
Like so I'll go and I'll open each of like the four windows like
Yeah.
a little bit. And sometimes I'll do it and then I'll get out of the car, I'll close it, and I start like walking away and I look and I'm like, that was too wide. I think an arm can fit through there. And I'll go back and I'll like readjust them and I'll like bring them up a little bit so like nobody can put their arm through
One
to like
thing
unlock the door.
he gets all excited when you come back, thinking like, okay, she's coming back. We're gonna finish our ride, and you're just fixing the window for him.
Yeah. Yeah,
No,
for sure.
I love that you bring him everywhere. It's awesome. I love that. But my brain, it's just another anxiety thing that we all have.
It's always for quick stuff too. Like it's always just
Yeah.
I go pick up my kid from school, I get out of the car for 5 minutes, get my kid, come back. Like it's not
Yeah.
I
You're
don't
not
leave them
getting
there while I'm shopping and doing stuff like
exactly
that. So it's
before
never he's
people
never
get
in there.
mad before people get mad at us.
Right. So okay, so let's just get into like some other this is just a question. Have you ever broken a bone?
No, never, because I wasn't allowed to play sports.
You're right. Well, like I
That was
wasn't allowed to do anything that was like remotely dangerous in any way, shape, or form. Like
no.
I did play sports, but it was like I just had this built-in caution from all of the my mom's worries.
Yeah. My father was always like, I'm not leaving work to have to bring you to the emergency room. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's valid. He had a great work ethic. Yeah, no, I never broke a bone, never sprained anything. Never needed like surgery for like any bones ish hurt, like none of that. Nope.
No, because we were
I
so
like
cautious.
we were like living in a bubble almost.
Right. It's
Yeah.
like I was like, oh, I can't do that. I might get hurt. I can't do that. I might get hurt. Like, oh no, not doing that.
Everything. Everything is just the negative of it. It's not like, oh my God, like my child want my child's gonna play soccer and we're gonna go every Saturday to the soccer thing. No, it's just you can't because somebody might kick you and like you might sprain your shin or whatever it is, your ankle, or no, you can't do soccer. Where now like all the kids now, I feel like all my friends' kids, they're always taking their kids to soccer every Saturday.
I
And it's like we
know.
didn't have our Saturdays was for cleaning the house.
Those are my all whole childhood memories. It's just my mom singing Celine Dion. Like Casey Kasem was counting down on the
Oh
radio.
yes. You always had that playing at your house. I remember that.
Casey Kasem
Yep.
and
Yep.
Rick D's in the weekly top 40s.
Yes.
And we were
Yeah.
she was just belting out some Celine Dion, some Mariah Carey, and she was cleaning that house top to bottom.
Always. There was no sports, no nothing. Like boys would go play hockey. Oh, that was like I till this day I still don't know how to ice skate because that wasn't
Mm,
something I needed to learn because I could get hurt.
yeah. Well, and they didn't know how to do it.
And they
So
didn't,
how
yeah,
would they take
that
you, So unless
exactly.
I took you, you weren't going.
Exactly. Like
So
you taught me how to ride a bike.
I know I don't feel like I don't remember that, but
Yeah, it was in your basement, but yeah, but you did. Do I still know how to? It's questionable.
I feel like I gave you a bike at some point, or I don't know if you were maybe you didn't get to take it to your house, but I feel like we were like,
Oh,
hey, we have
maybe
extra
like I,
bikes.
yeah, maybe I think I like just left it at your house or something. Yeah,
Yeah, we had an extra for you.
probably.
So, all right, so staying on anxieties and just thinking about how deep some of the stuff goes, and it's not all a lot of it's cultural and the way we were brought
Yeah.
up, but then like the media plays into all of it too because they just fill your mind with all this crap that could happen and it's all bad and you just
Hmm.
start spiraling and then people, oh my god, with social media too, people just posting on the internet like, oh,
Everything.
oh my god, I was at Walmart and I almost got human trafficked, and it's just I understand that that's happening and we need to have awareness for it, but at the same time I also feel like a lot of those posts are just either old posts that are recirculating or just stuff that's just drumming up fear for no reason. And so I'm going to tell this story about it was a few years ago now. I was in Florida on a vacation and we had rented a Jeep,
Hmm.
like a Jeep Wrangler or whatever, to drive around in while we were down there. And it was super fun. I loved riding in the Jeep down there. And now we had gone on a trip down there like 6 months prior for a wedding. And we, as part of that wedding, like we ended up in an arcade at one point, and like all the kids won like 100 of these like little rubber duckies, and it was like a whole thing. So we'd like associate that trip and that vacation with these freaking rubber ducks because they were everywhere.
Yeah.
And whatever. Flash forward, we're on this new vacation 6 months later, and we go into a grocery store with my daughter and my husband, and we come out and there's a rubber duck on the handle of our Jeep. And I'm like, what is that? Like you come out and you know how you've been so conditioned to like, oh my God, if there's anything on your car when you get out of a
Oh yeah.
store, it's people are trying to traffic you. Like you
There's
don't
so many
touch
videos all over Instagram about
like
that.
you
Yeah.
don't touch it at all, right? Like you
Yeah.
don't touch it. It's like laced with drugs. It's gonna knock you out. They're trying to
Yes.
like
Yes.
mark your car for a victim and like all this shit, right? Like if it's under your windshield, like a paper, a note, like don't read it, nothing,
Yeah.
right? And this is like broad daylight in the middle of like a safe place, but still. So and my mind just starts racing. And I was like still in a heavy anxiety state at this point. And so my mind is going, and I'm like, what is this duck? Like, this is somebody who's like tracking us and they know that we came here 6 months ago and we had all these rubber ducks. Like, why else would this duck has like a meaning? Like, oh my God, somebody knows, like they saw us here 6 months ago and they see us again. And this duck is the reminder, like that. they know us and like they were watching us and I'm like, oh my, and I spiraled so hard and I literally was Googling, like as soon as I got home, I was Googling like there's a yellow duck on my Jeep and then like human trafficking. Like that was my Google search. Okay. And then I just found out that there's a thing called Duck Duck Jeep where
Yeah.
Jeep owners just like to like share a little joy with each other and they have these little rubber duckies. I don't know where or who started it, but in the Jeep community, it's very popular. It's very well known. I was just renting this Jeep, so I was unaware of the Duck Duck Jeep trend. And so sometimes they leave like little notes, like it'll be like, you've been ducked, and they'll have a little note on it and it says something cute or whatever, like pass this on to a fellow Jeep owner. And it would give you like a little background or backstory. Like
Yeah.
sometimes they just leave the duck with no further information, which is what they did to me. And I was like petrified. But then I realized what was happening and I was like, oh, this is so cute. And then we got ducked like 4 more times on that trip. And then we were ducking people and it was just, it was wonderful. It was very cute. But I thought we were getting trafficked.
For that initial first moment, you're like, what the hell is this? If I touch this duck, am I gonna like pass out to the ground?
That's what I thought.
I don't blame you because I've seen so many videos of that, and I'm just like, I would have that would have been my first initial thought too. I'm like, I could possibly touch this duck
Like
to get it out.
it was sitting on the handle to the
And
driver's
yeah, and
seat.
that's the thing. And because they say, like, oh, if you see anything in your handle of your car, don't touch it, right? So it's like,
Right.
okay, so how am I supposed to get in my car to be safe? So you would think like, okay, I'm gonna touch this duck so I can get rid of it. But if you touch it, you're gonna pass out.
Like
So I would have thought the same.
I was literally we grabbed the duck and I was like looking around the parking lot. I was like, who is watching me? Like I was just so paranoid at that point in time. But it just goes to show how much this stuff affects you, whether you realize it or not, as you're consuming the information.
Yeah.
It just builds and builds and builds as anxiety and fear in your mind. And then you just spiral out of control over something so innocent as Duck Duck Jeep.
Just like a little, yeah, like a little game.
And so I'm in a better place now. Hopefully I don't spiral so quickly, but it's hard not to.
It's valid because I swear I come across one of those videos on Instagram like every other week or something. Every 2 weeks it'll be like a new video of something else, and there's like videos of like what to do to like prevent like tips that you can do. Like, so if you see something in your car, if you see something in your handle, do this instead, so you don't, you know what I mean? Like, oh, and I'm just like, oh my god, but I find myself getting stuck watching it, which is like, yeah, I'm watching it so I can be safe. But then like now I'm all messed up because that's like in my head.
Right.
So if I see a parking ticket in my if I see a parking ticket in my windshield wiper, I'm not touching it.
Seriously. It's such a fine line. I completely agree with you. It's such a fine line between just not wanting to be ignorant because you don't want to put yourself in danger if there's really danger to be avoided, but you just cannot consume all of it. Like sometimes
No.
even I'm scrolling social media and when those videos start popping up, I'm like, I can't even engage with this. I can't even watch it because
Yeah.
I know that if I watch one of them, 10 more like it are going to pop up because the algorithm
That's the
and
problem.
and that's the problem. And then it's just going to like, it just feeds into whatever emotion you're feeling. And I'm like, nope. Then I just have to scroll right past it. And that's honestly
Yeah.
like, it's better for my mental health to just not take those messages in sometimes.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Like you definitely need to be aware, obviously.
Right. And like just be aware of
Especially
your
being
surroundings at all times. I mean, that's just common sense, right? Like
yeah.
you can live life without fear, but also having awareness of what's going on around you. And so I think that's just like the message. And it doesn't need to be specifically what this person in Walmart said to you or what this person at the
Right.
Target parking lot did to you. And because you just start feeding all of that into your brain and then your brain
Yeah.
is just on high alert all the time for no reason. And it's just a shitty way to live.
Yeah, and I think because like I listen to like I listen to a lot more, obviously, like true crime podcasts, and I know sometimes I tell you ones that I listen to, and they're very big on like obviously like know your surroundings and stuff. But sometimes some of their tips, like when they like hone down on like some of the tips that for women like going out, like obviously a good tip obviously is if you're going out with a group of women, you guys should all be leaving together. Like you don't let one go off with a random dude. Granted, you don't want to block anybody. Like if someone wants to have a good time, they want to have a good time. But like at the end of the day, you need to be safe. And like I personally wouldn't allow like my drunk friend to leave off with a dude. Like no, every like if four of us showed up to a bar, four of us are leaving all together. Like I'm sorry. Get the guy's number and reach out to them another time. Like no. So
You
like
know
I
what?
hear a lot of
You know what I'm gonna.
buzz.
You know what story I'm gonna say next, right? In Atlantic City.
Oh yes, yes.
So, a friend of ours, she listens to this podcast, so we never give names anyways, but
No. But
yeah,
we love her dearly.
we do love her dearly, and we kind of failed her a little bit in this situation, and we should have been better, but
We
we
were also a lot younger
it's no
in
excuse.
just
It's yeah, it's no excuse,
I
but at
know,
the
but we
same
were
time,
younger.
and we did ultimately get her out of the situation, but we were in Atlantic City, we had gone to one of those Harrah's or whatever the hell those hotels are called.
Yes, it was like a pool thing, a
Pool
pool
party,
bar.
a very expensive cover pool party, something or other
Just
that
pools everywhere, hot tubs everywhere.
that went till like 5 in the morning. It was open till like 5 or 6 in the morning. We had no business being there. It was just we were way too sheltered for that environment.
Yeah, you were
The
just like signed to date your husband, weren't you?
We had just started talking. We weren't like officially together, I don't
Yeah,
think. But
so you're gonna be 10 years with your husband. So
so
think
this was
about
10
it.
years ago. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
This was well, no, we were married for 10 years. So this was like 13, 14 years ago.
Okay, so
Because
even
we were
even
together
more.
before marriage.
It was longer than it was. We were young.
Yes. And so and the men there in particular were very aggressive.
Aggressive.
Very aggressive, unlike anything I had ever seen before in my life.
Whole other level.
I recall a particular instance before we get to what happened to our friend. I recall we were getting out of our car in the parking garage. It was the three of us, and I had a really bad sunburn from laying on the beach the day before, like worst sunburn I've ever had in my entire life. And this man approached us in the parking garage.
Garage.
I was wearing heels and a dress and a big sunburn. And
Yeah.
he said, I'm taking this one. He grabbed me, picked me up, threw me over his shoulder like a sack of potatoes,
I remember that.
and just started walking away. And I was like, first of all, the fucking audacity. I didn't know this man from a hole in the wall. Like I had just gotten out of the car in the parking garage.
Yeah.
And he did this, and my sunburn hurt so bad when he did that. I was like, I started screaming. I was like, down. And I'm like flailing and kicking and screaming at this man in the parking garage. We should have called it a night right there.
I know. We should have just got back into the car and left. I know.
Right there. And this wasn't even the same men. This was like a different group of men, right? Like we lost these dudes.
Yeah, I don't even think we ever saw those guys again.
The parking lot dudes.
No, the parking lot, no.
So we were like, all right, we're done with these dudes. And we went into this bar place with like a giant swimming pool. It's like naked people making out in the hot tubs. We had no idea what was going on.
I don't know what.
And we had met a couple of other people that were talking to us there, and our friend was talking to this guy, and they were, I don't know, hitting it off. He was apparently staying, was it in that hotel or some connected hotel? It wasn't far.
Yeah, it wasn't far from where we were. Yeah.
It was close. It was either like connected to where we were or in
Yeah.
like a close building, like right next door,
Yeah.
something like that.
I remember him buying us like drinks and getting us like Long Island. He would always get us Long Islands.
Long Island iced teas. Like
Yeah.
who knows what they were putting in those drinks? Nobody knows. And our friend ultimately, he was like, oh, like he wanted to take our friend back to his room. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't just the two of them in there. Like, wasn't there like a third friend or something? I don't know if he was in the room or not. I really don't
I
remember.
don't remember.
And so
Because I know he wasn't part of like the initial group of guys that were talking to us. You know, like the guy that was kind of into me, that one. Like this was like a separate group, I believe.
I don't know. So I can't remember exactly who was in the room, but
Yeah.
somehow she ended up in the hotel room with this guy. And he just like we lost her for a period of time and we were like, where is our friend? And we knew she had gone up to this room. I don't know if she had texted us the room number because I don't know how we knew exactly what room she was in, but we knew. And we were trying to like give her space, like, hey, maybe she wants to like go
Right.
be in this room
Yeah.
with this guy. But at the same time, we were like, but we're also going to stand right outside the room in the hallway and wait for you. And so,
We'll listen. We'll listen if we have to.
and I think that's what happened. Like, I think maybe we like knocked on the door, like we wanted to come in, and like the guy was being weirdly aggressive, and he wasn't letting us in, or like we couldn't like let me see my friend, let me see that my friend is still
Yeah.
in there, and we were like trying to like push our way in, and then I just got some vibes that were like he was just being way too aggressive and like not letting us in, and she was just like, I want out of here, like I don't know what's going on, and he was like
Yeah, he
grabbing
was
her.
being really weird. He wouldn't like open the door for us.
And he was like grabbing her. And I think we called security. Didn't we call security at the
Yeah.
hotel? And we told them, like, our friend is in this room and this guy's not letting her out. And then I
Yeah.
don't know what ended up happening. I think we like told him through the door, like, we called security on your
Yeah,
ass. And
I
like, I
think
think he eventually let her out. But I remember it just being like the audacity of these freaking men in this place was like
yeah.
insane.
Yeah. They all thought they had like big dick energy for some reason. And it's like, no, we're just trying to have like a nice little time with the three of us because we just decided to road trip to Atlantic City. No idea.
Oh, never
And
again,
here
man.
we
I'll never return to that place. That
nope.
was that was an experience. But I mean, the amount of people that have probably dealt with that there and anywhere else is just ridiculous. It just
Right. And thankfully, obviously everything worked out in that situation and she was fine. And we were there to like be like, hey, freaking open this door and let our friend out. But like, I'm almost like kind of glad he was almost whatever his hotel was like connected. It wasn't far. Because imagine if it was like he took her to a whole second location. Like, yeah, he did take her to another location, but it was
well,
like attached to
there was
something.
another group of guys that we were dancing with around at that time, and I remember them wanting to take us all to a separate location at like 5 a.m. and we were like,
And we're like,
we're
no,
good.
yeah, yeah, nope,
And
no, 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 no.
they were actually very nice and respectful, that
Yeah.
group of guys, but we were like, yeah, we're good.
We're like, we already went through a situation.
We've seen enough tonight. We've
Yeah,
seen enough tonight.
exactly.
It's not going to
We're
end well
good.
for us if we move to a second location. So we're going to
Yeah.
stay here. We're actually not going to tell you where we're staying
That's right.
because it's a cheapy motel with a king size bed and a lover's hot tub.
And the three of us just all slept in that bed. And then poor Melissa with her sunburn, we couldn't even like we couldn't even like touch her. We had to be super careful to like not hit her with like our elbows or anything like that because she was so burnt.
We were debating taking me to the hospital for that sunburn. That
I
was
know, I know, I
but
know.
anywho.
So with kind of on theme with I guess well, not vacations but like driving ish in cars. I don't know about you, but did your like mom? I'm gonna say because my mom did. I don't know if people's other parents or whatever. Like my mom had such the anxiety of driving on highways and such. Like she would. My mom never drove on highways, and my mom never drove far away. Like if she didn't know how to get to the location through the city, she wouldn't go to it.
My mom didn't have that, but I know many family members who still have that, who will not drive on the highway and go or drive anywhere at night or drive anywhere where they're not familiar with that they, like
Same.
a place that they go all the time. And that's a whole cultural thing too. Like there's so many people in our culture that have that anxiety.
So my mom, I think it stems with her because my mom obviously didn't have a license out there in the Azores. She got her license here. So I had one of my cousins that's a little bit older, was teaching so my cousin was teaching my mom how to drive, right? So my mom was picking my brother up from my aunt's house or something like that. And instead of I don't know what she did. I think like so instead of going into drive, she did reverse and she flew into the neighbor's garage.
That'll do it.
So so very early on, and my brother was young, so she already had anxiety, like from just that situation alone. So forget it. Like anything driving with her, she can't. She won't do it. If it's not in her like 5 to 10 mile vicinity, she won't go past it.
My mom was always really good like that, but she was born here and she kind of grew up
Yeah.
in the US, but she was always good with that, and she was actually very good. I give her a ton of credit for in the time before GPS and all that. She never had a fear of getting lost. Like she would go and she commuted pretty decently far for work
Hmm.
for a while in a few different places, and she never had a fear. She said, you just keep heading the right direction and you'll get there eventually. You'll find your way. And like that was her mentality, which is so odd to me because of how much anxiety she has about everything.
I was just gonna say,
Like
yeah.
it's not what you would expect her to
No, not
have.
at all.
But I remember being young and that was her mentality. And I think she's actually gotten worse as she's gotten older because now she actually won't even drive. When she comes to visit me, she won't drive anywhere in my city by herself.
Oh, okay.
With a GPS telling her where to go, she will not do it.
Oh, interesting.
So it's like night and day from when she was kind of out being fearless when I was a
Yeah,
kid
yeah,
with no GPS, no map, just raw dog in the
yeah.
streets, raw dog in the streets. And now she is so fearful. So she'll come to visit me. I only live 2 hours from her. I've lived here for 12 years. She has been here so many times. Okay.
Yeah.
She should know the area by now as it is. But like she also has a GPS. And if let's say, there'll be like a couple occasions where I'm like, hey, mom, I got to do something. But if you want to go take my kid out to the store to go somewhere, you can. And she's like, oh, I can't do that by myself. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I don't know where I'm going. I'm like, you have a GPS. Like, she just plug in Target and like,
Right. It'll take you
boom,
there.
boom. It's like 1 mile away. Like, what's the problem? And she's like, oh, no, no. Like, I can't drive over here. And I'm like, what? Like,
Oh,
it's
man.
so bizarre.
I wasn't like I wasn't expecting that because I knew your mom was obviously better than my mom with driving because I know she could like read and speak English. So she could see like the signs and stuff like that. Like I think
Mm-hmm.
obviously a big thing for my mom is because she can't read or like,
Oh,
understand the signs.
understandable. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it's shocking to hear that now that your mom, even with the GPS, your mom won't drive
She
in your
won't
area
drive.
at least.
Yeah, and she won't drive my van. So she's come over here and for whatever reason there was something and I was like, "Oh, just take my van. I need your car for something. I don't know. Just take
Yeah.
my van." And she said, "I can't drive that. I've never driven that." And I'm like, it's just a car. Like it's just a van. What do you mean? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like she won't drive it. And it's a minivan. Like just drive it. She's like, I don't know how to drive this thing. It's got one of the push button starts,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and then it has um the shifters, like the drive, neutral,
Yeah. The
reverse, or
vans.
whatever.
Yep.
It's not one of these. It's just like buttons.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's just a
Yeah.
little panel of buttons where you just like you press D for drive, you press N for neutral, R for reverse. And she's like, I don't know how to drive this car. And
That would probably mess up my parents though too.
I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, she needs
She needs she needs a
the
shift.
little lever
Yeah.
shift on it, even though it's automatic, but like the shifter physically. And I'm like, Mom, it's like nothing's changed. It's D for drive, it's R for reverse. Like just and I have a video. Actually, I'm gonna look through my phone because I took a video one day. We drove. to the neighborhood CVS. Like it was
Mm.
real close. And I made her drive the van. I said, no, mom, you're gonna drive this van because I know you could do it. And actually, I think no, I drove to the CVS and I parked the car in the parking lot and we needed something from the pharmacy. And I said, okay, mom, we're going to switch and you're going to take this van just through the drive through at the CVS and then park us back again because you need to practice. Took a
You're like
video.
taking her and doing a driving lesson.
And so I did that. And I think I took a video of her and it was like the woman's first time in a vehicle. I was like, I don't understand what's happening
Oh man.
now. You've been
So
driving for 40, 50 years. Like, what is the problem?
no, because I'm just laughing because I'm thinking of so my mom's always driven like smaller cars. Like she had like a little Hyundai accent way back. She has like a little Toyota now. But and like my dad always when my dad worked, he's retired obviously now, but like when he worked, he had like a company car. So like my mom mostly like always had her small cars. Like my dad never got like a truck for the house because obviously my mom's never gonna drive a truck and he had his company one. So when it was time to get the car that she has now, like her little like Toyota that she has, like a Toyota what Corolla, whatever it is, it's small. It's a small car. So I think she literally went from a Hyundai accent to a Toyota Corolla. Not much of a difference. Do you know she was scared to drive her little Toyota for the longest time?
It was too
She
big.
was scared to drive. It was too big for her. It was a whole different car. I'm like, not really. It's the same thing. Like, it literally is. So now I'm like, wow, if she ever gets another car now after this Corolla, she's gonna be like screwed because now it's like the backup cameras, the push buttons, all these. It's more high tech now, which makes it easier for you. But in her brain, it's not. It's gonna be so much harder for her.
Right.
Like it's. I'm like, dude, she better not have to like her Toyota better be her last car that she has.
She has a lot of cost savings to be had because she can just go in and just be like, I want the base model. Give me the base model
Right.
with the roll up windows. Like that's what I need. That's what I want. I don't want all the features.
She's like, I don't want all these bells and whistles. I don't need it. I think like honestly, and now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, wow, would my mom like get screwed up with the backup camera? Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like in her brain, she would just stare at the backup camera and not pay attention to anything else.
100%.
And I'm like, oh man, let's hope she won't ever need another car. Let's hope this Corolla will last as her.
You're gonna be out there putting like duct tape over the backup camera on the back so she can't see anything out of it. So it's just like it's not there.
It's little like it's little things like that that just I don't understand. Like a backup camera, all these things. That makes it so much easier for us, right? But for them, it's like I'll say for my mom's situation, but for them, like it makes it like worse. Like I don't get it. Like even like these smart TVs, it's just it makes it so much easier. Like you can just pop something out, but like for them to learn something new is so difficult, and which I understand.
But
Like
it's
like
so it doesn't make sense though because for the way that they lived their life where they made the biggest change you could make in your entire life, which is to immigrate to a new country.
right.
That's the biggest change. That means you have to be like a-okay with change and your whole life is changed. And they're okay with that. And they did it and they survived and they did amazing at it. But then like the smallest changes inconvenience them in such a big way. And it's so strange to
It's
me.
yeah. It just throws me off. Like for the longest time, my dad couldn't understand like the smart TV, and he almost was like, "I'm gonna go grab the old TV and bring that back downstairs." And I'm like, "You just purchased yourself like a 60-inch nice TV. You can watch your Benfica on it, but because you can't understand the controller and like the options on the screen, you just want to get your little small like 32-inch TV back." Like no.
Oh,
But he's
my
pretty good. He'll take the time to actually learn it. My mom forget it.
my dad is too proud to admit when he doesn't know something. So, or he doesn't
Yes,
understand something
yes,
because he knows we're going to laugh and we're going to make
yes.
fun and all that stuff, right? So on the TV aspect, like my my dad has, some TV. It's probably like old technology now, but it was a big screen, flat screen TV at the time that he got it. It was high tech.
Yeah.
And we'll go over like and we'll be like he'll have somehow like done something to it, and then all of a sudden like the image is only playing on like a small part of the screen instead of the whole screen, right? Like all of a sudden like the whole TV is showing on like 20 inches and he has like a 60-inch TV, the rest of it's a black, right? And we'll come in and we'll be like, Dad, what's wrong with your TV? And he's like, oh, no, I like it that way. And I'm like, no, don't. Like, you don't like it that way. Like, you accidentally pressed something and it got stuck like this. And you were too proud to ask for help for someone to come and fix it for you. So now you're going to pretend that you like it this way? Like, oh, no, it's actually just a little better. Like,
Your dad on the couch and watching it on the small.
he will never admit when something like he couldn't fix something or something he screwed something up. He will not admit it. And it's
Yeah,
just the funniest thing.
my dad's the same way for the most part, especially if he screwed something up. If he messed something up, he will not. He will like deny and be like, oh, or he'll blame it. He'll blame it on something else. Like, oh, that got messed up because of this. It wasn't me. Like, I didn't mess that up. It was because this happened. And it's like, oh no, you messed it up. Like, it's fine. So actually a few weeks ago, my father was driving like, my dad's very good with the highways and getting himself, like, if he gets lost, he can figure out how to get home. He's traveled for work to Boston, back and forth, many, many years. But obviously now, so he's home, he's obviously retired, so he doesn't drive as far now like he needs to. Like, on occasion, he'll maybe like go to Providence or something, whatever, right? So a few weeks ago, he wanted to go to the flea market, right? And it's up north a little bit. It's about maybe 20 minutes away from us. And he hasn't been in a long time. And him and his friend were gonna go to the flea market. And then he went super early. And then he comes back and I'm like, oh, how did you make out the flea market? And he was like, oh, all right. And I'm like, did you get anything? I'm like, you love go to the flea market.
He did not make it to the flea market.
Did not make it, got
No
lost.
chance.
He got lost going to a flea market that he's been several times. So that's like his jam on Sundays to go, right? He got lost because he hadn't gone in a while and he didn't realize that they changed all like the highway numbers.
Oh, they
So
renumbered the highway
like
exits.
remember the
Yeah.
highways, yeah. So that screwed him all up and he didn't know how to get to the to the flea market. And that broke my heart. And I was like, wow, if you learned how to use the GPS on your phone, you could have put it in and you would have like figured it out. But it's just a lot of those little things, a lot of them. But now he knows what exit is. So we'll see if he makes it there again.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like thankful that none of that driving stuff like was thrown on us. Like my mom's whole fear of driving. Like my dad's always driven everywhere, and my mom has the biggest fear of driving. I'm so thankful that like I was just like, no, I'm not taking this from you. Like I don't like. I will drive anywhere and everywhere if I have to. I'm just so glad like I didn't inherit that.
You know what I did inherit driving wise from my mom? I inherited her backseat driver
Mm.
mentality, vocabulary, mindset, anxiety, whatever you want to call it, where she is constantly, so she'll be a passenger in the car and she will just constantly be telling the driver how to drive
Mm.
and slow down, slow down, slow down. Oh, watch where you're going. Oh, watch this. Look at that. Watch this. Slow down, slow down. Hey, slow down. You're going too fast. It's icy. It could be icy. It could be, slow down. There's
Yeah.
there's water. You're gonna hydroplane. Like it's just a constant rhetoric of that when you're in a car with her. And my husband can attest to the fact that I have inherited that from her 100%.
Oh.
I am the worst passenger in a car. I
Oh
cannot do it.
man.
I can drive and be perfectly fine. And if I am the driver and I am in control, I have zero problems. But if I am a passenger in a car with pretty much anybody but my dad, I feel safe in a car with my dad.
Yeah.
I don't feel safe in a car with my husband. We've we've gone I've gotten better, and I'll tell you why. But we've gone historically, like we've driven. It's been so bad that we've driven to my parents' house, which is a 4 hour round trip, and we've taken two cars because I was like, I can't drive with you.
Oh, really? I always thought you guys maybe took two cars because he always had like something to go do somewhere, like because doesn't he have like friends and family in other parts? So I'm like, oh, maybe they came separate because he's doing like his thing first and he'll come and meet you.
We do that a lot. So that is a reason for it a lot of the times, but there were occasions where we were so much at odds with each other over me not being able to shut up while he's driving and him not liking the way I drive. And we would just be like, you know what, I'll meet you there. And 4 hour round trip. And we're just like, yep, that's better for our relationship. So we
Oh
do that.
man, that's
And
insane.
I know. And so let me tell you why it's gotten better because now both of our cars have adaptive cruise control.
Oh, okay.
And so, which is it for anybody that doesn't know, it's where it's like a cruise control setting, but instead of it just like staying at 75 the whole time and you having to like hit the brakes if the cars in front of you slow down, it kind of locks into the car in front of you and it adjusts the car's speed
Yep.
faster or slower depending on what the car in front of you is doing. So it's pretty much like
It's driving
it's
itself
driving
almost.
itself pretty much. So you get on the highway and you could just plop that thing in adaptive cruise control, put a little lane assist on. It keeps you in the lane. You have to keep your hands on the wheel, of course, and it'll beep at you and scream if you don't. But it keeps you in the lanes and it slows down when the car in front of you slows down. It'll scream at you to brake. Like it does a whole thing. And I trust that more than I trust his driving abilities. So as long as he's got adaptive cruise control on, I'm like, oh, okay, this is much better. This is much safer.
He's gonna listen to this. He's gonna be pissed.
He knows this is no
The,
conversation we haven't had
the,
with each other.
yeah, cruise control kind of makes me nervous still, but I do like to use it occasionally, especially if it's like the long rides. I'll use it, but it makes me a little nervous.
I was very anti
Yeah,
regular cruise control for that reason because you're just barreling down at 75 and if the car in front of you
just
stops like
stop.
it's
Yeah,
you still need to hit the brake like it ain't doing nothing, it's just going to accelerate you into their rear end.
right.
So I was very anti regular cruise control, but adaptive cruise control I am all in. I
Oh,
am
that's
all in.
awesome.
Yeah.
You're all in. You'll do your family road trip.
Yes, so I feel safe in driving with my dad. I don't feel safe driving with you. You're sometimes you're like too slow in certain situations.
I
You
know people say
slow.
that like I'm too slow sometimes. My coworker will say that too, and I'm like,
Like you need to pick up the
I'm very like I don't know. I try to watch what other people. So it's like I feel like I'll drive a little slow because I'm trying to watch what other fucking people are doing.
I'm a defensive driver too. So
You know what I mean?
I do the same and I'm defensive
Yeah.
driver.
I'm constantly like on alert, watching what other people are doing.
Right. But sometimes I feel like you'll just like stop in the middle of the road and you'll just be like, we're like, no, we gotta keep moving.
I don't want to drive with you anymore.
So my husband, let me give you this for mentality, freaking Americans. My husband, he is an aggressive driver. I'm very passive defensive. He is offensive. Okay. So
Yeah.
he doesn't give a shit about right of way in terms of, so for me, if I have the right of way and I see that a car is ignoring the fact that I have the right of way and they're coming at me, I am going to stop and
Same.
I'm going to
Yeah.
let them go before I get hit in an accident. And my husband would be like, oh, I got the right of way. And he's just going. He's full speed going. He's like, it would be their fault. I'm like, but we would be dead. Like, do you really care
Exactly.
whose fault it is? Like, if we are not alive? He's like, but no, but I had the right of way. And I'm like, does it mean you just crash into them to assert your right of way?
Yeah, like is that what you want to be said in your eulogy? Like
I had the right of way.
he's
Let
dead
it be
now, but
known. Let it be known for the eternity that I had the right of way. And I just can't live like that. I can't drive like that. And so
no.
the two of us, we're not good road trip partners.
Yeah.
So you will never catch us on a cross country road trip together because it would be the end of our marriage.
That's so when we cross country to Bonnaroo, how come we didn't let you drive? What was the reason with that? Remember? Like I drove, the other two guys drove, but like you weren't allowed to drive for some reason.
Oh, what the hell was that about?
Do you
Um,
remember this, right?
I do. I didn't drive a minute of that
No,
20-hour trip.
but I did.
I know. And I don't know why. So our other friend, it was our friend's parents' van, this very
Yeah.
old Astro
Old
van.
man. I think we
Astro
took it
van.
twice, right?
Yes. And he was the one who told me I couldn't drive it. And in my younger years, so at kind of that time frame, I was a little bit reckless in driving. I was not as safe as I am now. Like I would
Oh, yeah, I recall. Yeah, I guess, right? Because of your accidents and stuff.
I had some accidents
Yeah.
and I was a little bit more reckless, like let's see how we can get there in the fastest amount of time. And
Right,
that's
right.
not my mentality any longer.
That could be
So
it.
yeah, so he was like, yeah, we don't, you're not driving the van. But
That was a
we
whole other slew of anxiety going to that music festival.
ooh, yeah.
Me and Melissa are not like drug users and we don't partake in any like really drugs. We're not against it. Like live your life, have fun, be safe, but we are not like we don't partake. We've talked about how we occasionally will do like an edible and stuff like that. But when we arrived at this music festival, wow, did we like wake up to like a whole new world of just like drugs everywhere. And we're like,
If
holy shit, this was not us.
if my mom knew, she would have never let me go to that thing. They were selling pancakes and opium together as a for breakfast. It was
we have
wild.
we would just have random people come up to us asking us if we want to like horse tranquilizers. And we were just so we were like, no, oh my god, no. We're like, and then we would just be like, what's horse tranquilizers? Why are people taking horse tranquilizers? And like
No,
ketamine was another thing. There was a lot. And we had no idea. Like our
no.
eyes were just like we just opened to a whole new world and we're like, wow, holy shit. There is more than just like weed and like cocaine and like heroin. Like that's like what we knew, you know what I mean? Like the main drugs, and we're like, holy crap.
But yeah, I never felt safer than like I didn't feel unsafe at that
No,
thing
not
at
at
all. It
all.
was just a bunch of hippies having a good time. Like it was
Yeah.
I felt very safe there. I didn't have anxiety really about that situation
No,
of being there.
I wasn't anxious about being there. It just was like the whole like I definitely wasn't anxious because my anxiety wasn't as bad. But like I just remember just being like, holy crap, like there's just so much drugs everywhere. I was anxious about us getting there because we would see people as we got closer into Tennessee. We would see like a lot of people get pulled over. And remember like just I remember driving by and one minivan and a bunch of kids were sitting outside and there were state troopers and it was just like bags of freaking cocaine on the hood of the thing. That's what I was like worried about. Like we didn't have anything like that in our car.
We
I mean,
didn't. I think a
the
couple of people
hippie,
that were in the van with us might have brought some
yeah,
stuff. So
the hippie there, yeah, he did. So that's what I was more anxious about was like, oh shit, like if we get pulled over because this kid had stuff, is it going to get thrown onto us? Like we were just in college still.
yes, and so that you're right. That was an anxiety for me because I was always like this is just perfect, straight A student, like never got in any trouble at all. And like the last thing I needed was to be like
Have a freaking
arrested in Tennessee for drugs. My
imagine calling our Portuguese parents with that one.
no, no. So so yes, I did have anxiety about that aspect of it. But
Yeah.
the other thing I was going to mention was about driving. So we were on the driving conversation and I remember some of the anxiety started when I was so young. I remember feeling like, I'd go out with my parents. I was young. I'm in the back seat. I was out of car seats at that point. So me, I don't know how old I was, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever. Right. And I remember we'd be like coming home from an event, driving home from a wedding, coming home from wherever, and it'd be like nighttime. And I remember not being able to fall asleep in the back seat of the car because I felt that I had to stay awake to make sure that we got home safely.
Oh my God, you hit that right on the doornail.
Like if I fell asleep, there was a potential that something was going to unfold and we were going to crash or like we weren't going to get home safely. And
Yep,
there was no reason for that. Like both of my parents were up. Like my dad would be driving and my mom would be the co-pilot or whatever. There was absolutely no reason for me to feel that way, but I never felt like I could relax without feeling like, no, I need to be awake. And I still feel this way. I need to be
same.
awake so that I can monitor the situation. Like I don't know what I was doing at 8 years old in the back seat to help
Yeah,
prevent us from crashing, but I felt like I needed to be awake.
same.
And
No, I felt the same way.
I have
And
never been
that,
able to sleep in a car like since, like through my adulthood. I
nope.
cannot sleep in a car that's
If
moving.
someone else is driving, yeah.
If
And
someone
if
else
someone
is
else is
driving.
driving, I have to stay awake and like just watch. Especially with
Yes.
road trips and stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've gone to Canada plenty of times with my dad, and I will stay awake with him because, and if, obviously if he's driving, because he's older, and what if he gets tired? And they will never pull over if they're tired. They want to make it to Canada in perfect time, like record time, so they can brag about it. So he'll never pull over. So I always felt like I needed to stay up too.
And like, it doesn't matter if there's already like three other co-pilots that are awake. Like
No,
I don't trust it. I don't trust any of them to
yeah,
keep me alive
because
while I'm sleeping.
they all could fall asleep. What if they all fall asleep at the same time as you do?
I'm not trying to die
You
in
know
my sleep
what
in
I
my
mean?
sleep in a moving vehicle. Like that's not how I want to go out.
No, hell
If there's
no.
something I can do to prevent that from happening, I'm gonna stay awake and I'm gonna do that.
I
I
agree. No, I agree with that one.
I don't care how tired I am.
Nope. I'll fight it if I have to.
I will fight it. I will be the one. I will be
Yep.
awake.
I do this. I do the same. Absolutely.
Um I already know the answer to this question. I don't even know why I'm gonna ask as a question. Were you allowed to go swimming after eating?
Nope. No. We could cramp out. We can cramp. Sorry. We would get a cramp and drown. So that was not happening. Couldn't do it. We had to sit like I think it was even longer than the 5 minutes. Where don't they say like you have
But
to wait 5 minutes or whatever it
five
was?
minutes?
No, but that's the
An
saying.
hour. No,
No,
honey,
but
an hour.
I always thought the saying was that you gotta wait five. I don't know. We never waited 5 minutes. I think we were like we would wait an hour.
It was an hour. No swimming for an hour
No.
after eating.
Yep, it sucked.
And no eating an hour before the Eucharist. It's a hard to plan your day.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a very hard day to plan. I got swimming, I got Eucharist, I got
Yeah, I remember the swimming thing. We couldn't do that. We had to wait because we weren't gonna cramp up and drown. No, nope, nope, no
no. And
way.
it was like by the time and like they would make you wait more than an hour. And like by the time
Yeah.
it was like I was hungry again, like it was time to go eat again.
Half the time my mom would be like yelling at me to stay on the small side just so I wouldn't like drown on the deep. She was, worried about the deep end, me going to the deep end and drowning. And it's like, lady, I know how to swim. It's fine. But that's a whole other going in the pool was a whole other situation.
Oh yeah, yeah. The anxiety that parents had about that, which
Yeah.
understandably, but when it gets to a certain point when you're like kind of a fully formed adult and you know how to swim and your parents are still like
Yep.
make sure you don't eat and go in the pool. Like, okay, I think we myth busted that one.
I know. I'm like, that's not even a thing. Like, it's fine. We can go swimming. It's not a big deal. Me eating like a ham and cheese sandwich isn't gonna I'm not gonna cramp up from eating that and drown.
Like I'm not cramping up when I'm not in the pool.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like I'm waiting that hour, but it's not like I'm like letting the cramps pass for an hour what before I hop in the pool. Like I ain't cramping up. Like what what is the logic?
Exactly. Like At least like can I just go in and stand in the pool then? Like I won't do like the swimming motion if it makes you happy, but like let me at least like soak and like stand in
I mean, that's
it.
let's be real. Like that's all I'm doing anyway.
Pretty much.
I ain't
Or
out
like
here swimming Olympic laps around the pool. Like
yeah, like none of us were not no Michael Phelps. Like that wasn't our thing. I wasn't like I need to go in swimming. Like I just wanted to be like in the pool or on a float, just trying to get some color.
I'm just trying to make a whirlpool.
Exactly.
Like I was never so far from like the edge that I wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to just get out if I cramped up. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not just in the middle of the ocean.
And like, where do you think you got cramped? Would you get cramped up in the stomach? Or like, would your legs cramp because you're swimming and something with the food? Did something like, what's like, where are we cramping?
I don't know. You're cramping my style by not letting me in that pool with my friends. That's what you're doing. Okay.
And like, if a girl has her period and she has cramps and wants to be in the pool, what's the difference?
Well, your mom right there, she wouldn't let you in the pool with your
No, she
period.
wouldn't.
So you're
No,
already
she
out.
wouldn't.
You're
She's like,
already out before it began. There's 3 days a month where you're allowed in the pool.
seriously. Yeah, that whole cramping thing wasn't, but that was a big major anxiety. Going to the pool, going to the beach, that was always like an anxious thing I know for at least like my parents it was. It was like if you go to the beach, you need to stay close by. You can't go in, like can't go in deep. It was always
The
just everything
undertow.
was
The undertow will take you away.
everything was always it was because too like I think my mom's logic was like, I can't go save you because like I don't know how to swim. So I can't come save you if something happens to you.
That I mean, that's understandable.
Yeah.
That's understandable. But yes, my mom was super, super paranoid about everything.
Literally everything.
I know. I'm trying to think of like what other things she might have been concerned about or anxieties that have crept into my life because of the way that she expressed her
That's
anxieties and her worries. Oh, right here. So I have a couple that I put these in my notes app when I was on my vacation because
oh
my mom said a bunch of things. Can't cut your hair or shower after you eat. What does that mean? What this is in my notes app. Can't cut your hair or shower after you eat.
hmm. I
Can't
don't know.
shower after you eat. So is that like you gotta wait an hour before you go in the pool? You gotta wait an hour to shower
Maybe like a cramp situation. Yeah.
in the shower.
Oh. I wonder. No, I've never heard anything.
Can't cut your hair
Yeah,
after you eat.
I'm interested what that was all about.
I gotta look these up after we get off this. I'm looking these up because I just have these in my notes app. Like can't drink wine and eat watermelon. Far in my life, but I think I'm pretty sure it was my mom. This is my notes app,
Yeah.
and I wrote these down. Can't have fish and milk.
Well, that I don't know if there's a thing about like if there's a thing around it, but that just sounds disgusting.
Can't drink. How about can't drink wine and watermelon? Back to that one.
I don't see why you couldn't, but like, would you want to? Like, watermelon is
No,
so
like
like
they
hydrated already as it is.
no, but like maybe like a rosé with the watermelon. Like
Oh
that
yeah,
that sounds fine. Why do they not?
yeah,
And you do like sangria is fruits and wine. So
exactly. Just
what's the issue with the watermelon and wine?
I know, listeners, let us know if you know any of these.
I'm very curious to see if any of our listeners have heard any of these things, to see if they're like cultural, if they're truly Portuguese things, or if this is just a my mom thing.
Yeah, and I feel like I need to ask my parents if anything like this. Like the seafood and milk just sounds like you just get sick.
Right. Like somebody somewhere had that and they threw up and they were
Yeah.
like, oh, that's you're not allowed to have that together. And
Yeah,
it's
you
like
can't do that together.
like okay, yeah,
But
sounds great.
I don't know, the watermelon, the wine's fine. And then I guess the showering and eating, I guess relates to the pool, maybe. They've always, there's so many like free,
But
I know.
but cutting your hair, you can't cut your hair after you eat. Like what is that about?
I always remember my mom would say something too, always like you couldn't. So maybe this is along the lines of you not cutting your hair, like well, we couldn't bleach. And I think I've mentioned this before. You can't bleach your hair. Like you can't go to the hairdresser if you're on your period. Yes, I think I said this with Connie, in our episode with Connie. Like so we're very
Right.
like in the beginning where something about like you can't go to the hairdresser if you're on your period.
You can't make wine when you're on your period.
Or
You can't
something
go in
like
the ocean
that.
when you're on your period. I mean,
We're
us,
fucked.
but we could definitely still go to work. We are still allowed to go to work,
Yeah.
put in
Yeah.
a full work day on our periods, but
Yeah.
you best not be getting near the wine. You best not be taking a shower. You best not be
Getting a haircut
getting a
apparently or getting your
haircut.
hair bleached.
No, none of that is allowed.
Yeah, there's always those weird little just things that just happen to them that must have just like stuck in their brain and their anxiety and they just brought it over to us. And I just remember hearing like certain things too, but like now I feel like I can't remember some other ones, but it just it's just crazy what they freaking think.
It really is. And I think we're like wrapping up because we're kind of out of time, but I have felt like a completely different person doing this with a handheld mic today.
I
So
know. I
I
kind
feel
of
like
like this.
I feel like a new woman. We're gonna see how the audio sounds when I go to process this back, but I feel much more empowered
Right. Like
holding the microphone than I do hunching over a microphone sitting on a stand. So
we're gonna try this. I kind of like this.
it's I feel a lot more limber. It's a very interesting vibe. So and you'll get to see it if you follow our YouTube channel
I was
because
just gonna
we now post our video episodes to YouTube. We typically do that in advance of the audio only podcast episode coming out because there's a lot more editing involved with the audio only version. The video, we kind of post a mostly uncut, raw take. And so it's just fun. You get to kind of see the episode early. It's the perk of subscribing to our YouTube. So,
yes. Subscribe, 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 and like it and pass it along. Tell everyone to subscribe
yes,
and leave us a review. Rate
if
us,
you
please.
if you have to make more than one account and you subscribe on more than one, I won't tell anyone.
Nope. Help stay between us. That's it.
It's our little secret. And I do
That's it.
feel, speaking of secrets, I do feel like the way that I am dressed for this episode has been very much Pretty Little Liars and A, like the,
Yep.
A from Pretty Little Liars. Like
Yep.
I'm in like an A disguise. I'm in like a black hoodie coat with a ball
I
cap
mean,
on.
I feel like you're ready to broadcast the weather. I'm like you're on location and it's like the wind and like the rain and the hurricanes coming and you're out there. I really do.
I know. I know. This is a vibe. I'm gonna have to see what kind of vibe I'm gonna bring to the next episode. But thank you guys for listening to us today.